How do everybody? Got another quite interesting story here, I think that we'll be getting into in a moment. Now, I've not read it, but this is something that I have been aware of for a while, but it's good that I found a story that's recent to talk about it. It is foreign affairs for us in the United Kingdom. This is about the German Bundeswehr, or the German army, if you want that in English. So we'll crack on with this, and I think it leads in again to what I keep saying about how we are going to be going to war in the not too distant future and prepare for mass conscription. So Germany may introduce conscription for all 18-year-olds. Both men and women could be called up to boost numbers in the armed forces. As I've said in previous videos about conscription, I think what they're going to say in here is, oh, we don't really want conscription, we're just throwing the idea around, but actually what they're doing is they're getting it into people's heads so that when it does actually come out, people aren't shocked by it. I do think it's incredibly important as well that Germany are doing this, obviously, because they are the largest and most influential country in the EU bloc at this moment of time. Now, that may change in the future to France. That is not beyond reason, in my personal opinion. But at the moment, Germany are the industrial heart of Europe. And I think the way Germany goes, the rest of Europe will shortly follow. Let us read. Germany is considering introducing conscription to all 18-year-olds as it looks to boost its troop numbers in the face of Russian military aggression. Military planners in Berlin are in the final stages of discussing three options, two of which involve a form of conscription, according to leaked plans reported in the German media. Now, so that's got to be remembered as well. Germany is in absolute dire straits at the moment. The Green Party there, who are in league with the CDU, the Christian Democratic Union, I think that is. Nothing Christian or democratic about it. That's Angela Merkel's party. Basically, they shut down their entire coal power plants. And I think even the nuclear plants were mothballed. And they tried to replace it all with wind farms. Basically, the amount of money that they've wasted on wind farms, and half of the time they don't even work in Germany because of the weather patterns there. So they have to import energy from France. But anyway, the amount of money they could have actually built a surplus of nuclear power plants with that money, and they could have been exported energy. Same as with the UK, with the money that we've wasted over the last 10 years, really, on wind and solar. But since the destruction of the Russian gas pipeline Nord Stream 2 by the Americans, allegedly, obviously, we've got to say allegedly on that, the German industry has been, the cost of running industry has been going through the roof, and they've even having to be rationing food, shutting down actual energy in the cold period last year, so that people had enough gas to power the homes and keep the homes warm. So Germany is, at this moment in time, is in a really, really, really bad financial state. I would not be surprised if the country ends up going into a mass recession in the not too distant future, and possibly if the country starts going bankrupt. It is genuinely that bad there, from what I've read anyway, and my understanding of it, which means that they will be highly incentivised in mobilising a large military force to secure energy supplies in the not too distant future as well, because this is what happens when countries get desperate. History proves it over and over again. All the niceties and the civilities that we've seen through the 20th century, they'll go out the window. Starving people don't care about rules. They want to feed the families. In one of the options being discussed, Germany will bring back a compulsory military year for young men once they turn 18, which was suspended in 2011, and apply it to women as well. That is desperation. This would require a change of the German constitution, but is seen inside the ministry as most likely to receive societal approval. I think the German constitution, I mean, they talk about constitutions in Europe, and they're not really worth the paper they're printed on half the time, because they seem to change them at a whim as and when it suits them. It's not like with the American constitution, where, although it has been amended a few times, it's pretty much cast iron and set in stone as to what it is. European constitutions tend to just be laissez-faire, oh, well, we'll write this down, and if we don't like it, we'll change it on another day. Another option would only apply to 18-year-old men, but would not see everyone selected. They would be required to fill in an online form and could then be chosen for service. That's like the American one, I think that. What do they call it in America now? I can't remember. But anyway, they sign on in America, and you basically get your name on the draft roll. You may never get called up. I mean, I don't think they've called anybody up since Vietnam. So it's one of those where your name's on the list and that's it. I think it's a federal crime in America as well if you don't actually put your name onto it. So they know you're not on it, so why don't they just put you on it anyway? I don't get it. I suppose it's just creating a scenario where they can just punish you and screw you over. They would be required to fill in an online form and could then be chosen for service. According to detailed leaks to Die Welt or the world to English speakers, newspaper. This is seen by the Defence Ministry as a strong signal to both allies and rivals. That's an incredibly strong signal. I mean, it's beyond strong. It's like I keep saying about the things I'm pointing out that's happening in the UK, and as I've actually been recently proven right with the Prime Minister saying that we're going on a war footing. This is them telling us what they are actually doing in the future without telling us what they're doing in the future. It's like a boxer or a fighter cocking their hand up ready to throw a punch at you. As soon as that hand comes up, you know what's happening. And it's after they've clocked you and they said, yeah, we're going to war. Once they've punched you in the face, yeah, we're going to war. That's, the telegraphing. This is what they're doing, the telegraphing. And you can't say, like when, on a simpler and more obvious one, like when Russia invaded Ukraine, loads of people like, this is never going to happen. It's never going to happen. But to me, it was obvious. They lined up like an entire army on the border of Ukraine. Of course they were going to invade Ukraine. Like it's so glaringly obvious. And everybody's going, well, Russia are telling us they're just on a military exercise, so let's believe them. It's like, really? Are you really that stupid? You're actually going to believe that a country's going to line their entire army up on a border and not invade? It's like a mugger pulling out a knife and saying, just give me your wallet, mate. I don't want to steal it. Just give me your wallet, and I just want to have a look inside it. That's all. I just want to have a look. I just want to hold it in my hand. I just want to hold it in my hand in my pocket. I'm just going to walk off. I'll see you later. Stab, stab, stab. It's like, it's madness. It's absolute madness. The third option would avoid compulsory service, focusing instead on optimising, in quotation marks, the current system by engaging in more proactive recruitment campaigns. Well, we're seeing that over here at the moment with the British Army, as I did that video the other day with the Parachute Regiment, which I do talk about it in that video. They've taken the video down as well now, although the post on Twitter, X, is still up. And so I do think that the military is really going in, all European and American militaries are going into recruitment overdrive. Even like with the very famous and highly derided US Army recruitment one of the cartoon with the I'm such and such a woman and I got two mums, we're from San Francisco, blah, blah, blah. And now all of a sudden the videos have gone back to the, yeah, we're Americans, yeah, jump out plane, shoot guns. It's like, well, I mean, what young man doesn't want to join the military when they see guys jumping out of airplanes with guns? You know what I mean? Of course, and they're going back to that with the British as well now. I've noticed with the British military. I remember one advert over here. It's like, oh, we're on patrol, but we're going to let Mohammed pray in the middle of a patrol. And everybody was just like, that is absolute. Even like non-military people was like, you're out on patrol and you're going to let somebody pray in the middle of a field. Like, that is just stupid. Like, that's glaringly obvious what you're doing there. And now it's going back to, yeah, let's blow up some tanks, yeah, let's go drink a beer, yeah, let's go skiing, woo. It's like, that's what young men who want to join the army want to see in an advert, and that makes them go, yeah, I like drinking beer. I like the idea of shooting guns and blowing things up, and yeah, I really like women. Yeah, and if I join the army, apparently I'm going to be surrounded by women all the time. Why wouldn't I want to join the army? It's what young men think. It's what they want, and that's what the advert should be about, shooting, drinking and playing hide the sausage. That's really a winning formula for a military recruitment advert, in my opinion. I don't think you go wrong with that. So anyway, however, Mr. Pistorius is believed to be against the route. During a trip to Washington this week, he said, I'm convinced that Germany needs to form a military conscription. I mean, again, that's the Americans there telling us what they want as well and what they're planning for the future. Mr. Pistorius, who polls regularly, shows to be the country's most popular politician, has previously described the decision to suspend conscription as a mistake. Was that American? Yeah, a trip to... Sorry, no, Mr. Pistorius, he's a German, isn't he? A German politician. Sorry, that's me getting sick. But anyway, that's the Germans telling us what they want. What the plans are, just like I said with the Parachute Regiment, training with NATO, doing bunker clearances for 3 kilometres. That is telling us what the future plans are and what they predict are going to be the future warfare. So the Germans here wanting conscription shows that they are going to be wanting to mobilise large numbers of people very quickly. So they are clearly worried that we are going into a major conflict with a rival power bloc. It's possible reintroduction comes as Germany's ageing society means the number of soldiers heading into retirement is outstripping the number of new recruits joining up to replace them. Yeah, big problem. And the thing is as well with this, I mean, that's a really important thing because people talk about mass immigration. Oh, we've got ageing population, so we're going to have to import loads of people. Like, do you really think like Germany's one of their biggest uh, migration blocks is Turks? Do they really think that Turkish men are going to sign up to the German army in some sort of patriotism? Absolutely not. They're not interested. I've lived there for nearly 5 years. I've seen the Turkish community over there. Nothing against them personally, but they do not see themselves as Germans. They see themselves as Turks, and that is literally it. They are Turks living in Germany, and they have no interest at all in working for the interests of Germany in and of itself, and they are there purely for their own financial gain and for the Turkic people, I think, as they would put it, for the greatness of the Turks. That's what they're interested in. And if Germany starts trying to conscript them or trying to recruit from them communities, they get laughed at. Those people, and if Germany goes into a massive war and is like, right, we all need to pull together as a nation, either those people are going to become a massive problem in Germany and cause and make them ineffective to be able to fight overseas because they're too busy firefighting within the borders of Germany, or they'll all just pack the bags and go back to Turkey. And it's as simple as that. That's just the plain facts of it. They have no interest whatsoever in fighting for Germany. Meanwhile, Berlin has also set a target for raising the size of its armed forces from some 180,000 to more than 200,000. Still raising by about 20k then, which isn't a lot if I'm honest with you. The Defence Ministry is believed to be sceptical that this target can be met without some form of conscription. No, it can't. The ageing population thing's a big part of it. And people just aren't interested anymore. This is something I've noticed with a lot of young people, and I get it. Like people are looking at what's happening to the countries, whether you like immigration or not, I'm not getting into that side of it. But a lot of people are looking at it and going, well, I'm walking down parts of my town and it looks like I'm in downtown Mumbai. I don't hear my own language being spoken to. The school that I'm at or went to is becoming sectarian. The government's more interested in helping people who are entering the country illegally than lowering my bills. I can't buy a house because the government's buying them all up and giving them to foreigners. The banks have just absolutely annihilated any opportunity to have a high street or open my own business. The thing, universities become so politicised, it's impossible to actually learn anything because everybody's too busy protesting about things that are going on 3,000 miles away. And young people are just thinking, what's the point? Why should I fight and die for this? Let all these new people do it, and they're not going to do it. And they've even got as far as like anything that did help, say, the working classes, like organised religion or people being able to engage in sports, or even being able to defend themselves effectively. The government's taken all that away. They've trounced all over it. So this is unfortunately the consequence of that. So people don't want to join the military and fight for it. I'm going to leave it at that because I've got on for over 10 minutes. I'm over 10 minutes now, 13 minutes now. There's not, in fact, let's have a quick. There's only a paragraph left. Mr. Pistorius is likely to face considerable resistance to his plans from inside the German government. However, Olaf Scholz, the German Chancellor, has previously voiced his opposition to such a move, whilst ministers from junior coalition partners, the Free Democrats and the Greens, have also stated they would oppose it. Nonetheless, momentum for reintroduction conscription is good. So I just remembered actually, and something we do have in Germany, it's a bit like in America of the militias. Germany aren't allowed to have militias by law, but they do have shooting clubs, which are, funnily enough, structured just like a military unit, where they have a rank structure. Well, it's a rank structure where everybody has these fancy sounding names, but funnily enough, those names could sort of correspond with things like private, lance corporal, corporal, sergeant, staff sergeant, etc., etc. And they kind of have authority over each other. So in some ways, I think Germany would fare far better than the UK if they did have trouble at home for sectarian reasons, as I believe is something that is going to happen in the not too distant future. And I do think many European countries, including our own, the United Kingdom and Ireland, the Republic of Ireland, are possibly going to be facing potential balkanisation. People think that we're going to see independent movements like Scotland and Wales. I don't think we will. I think we're going to see independence movements like Birmingham, London, Blackburn, places like that where you have high immigrant populations within those towns and cities, and they will declare themselves not part of Britain anymore. They may call themselves, I don't know, Pakistan on Thames or something like that instead. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. I'll put the link to this article below. Obviously read it yourself, make your own mind up properly. Don't just listen to me. If you have enjoyed that, or you found it insightful, or it's giving you something to think about, please do like, subscribe. Definitely put comments below. Love reading your comments. It is my favourite part of this, and I do love replying back to people, although I may not do it straight away. And don't think I'm a closed book. I'm more than happy to change my mind. If you have got a very good argument, a very strong argument, please do write it down. I do read them. I do take on board what people say. I am willing to change my mind if your arguments are concise enough. Thank you very much. Goodbye.